All right, everyone ready to go? All right, everybody, welcome to the Washington, D.C. Helium Deployer Bootcamp. I'm Sam Lewis, part of the Helium team. I just wanted to make a couple announcements. You'll see those two beautiful backpacks over there. We're going to have an action-packed agenda, but we're going to be giving out those backpacks with some surprises inside them for two different things. One is going to go to the person in the audience that's most engaged with questions and comments, presenters, and then at the end, Omar Henry, one of our great community deployers over here, is going to play the role of a host after the presentation. And anyone who dares to come up and try to practice pitch to him, whoever has the best pitch as defined by the Helium class will get the other. So study up, take notes on what he's doing. We got a great agenda for you guys today, and I'm going to introduce now Mario, GM of Network.
By two. It's for the streaming, that's why, right? All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, first and foremost. So, by waves of the introduction, my name is Mario Didier. I'm the General Manager of Network at Helium. I have the honor to be part of this fantastic team that put this event together. So first and foremost, can we give a round of applause to RT, Nikki, Sam, Joey Hiller, and everybody, the Helium team that made this possible. So a little bit of introduction about Helium, but I'll try to be brief because there is so much content that we create that we wanted to show to you and be part of this. So we're going to go a little bit about, for the people that are not familiar with Helium, about what Helium is, and then I'll pass it over to Joey. We'll talk about how we build the network, what are the tooling that we're using, and then I'm very excited. Every time we do this deployer bootcamp, we've done one so far in San Francisco. This is the second one. We invite someone from the community, some of the deployers that actually, I would say, the heart of this network, to come up and explain what's their experience, how they make this work, and what are the tools that they use, and what are the things that, when you're actually out there to make it happen, what do you need for make this a success. So I'm very excited to be here and have Omar with us, and then we'll wrap up with Sam and what's next for Helium Bootcamp. So before we get into that, by show of hands, like how many people already deployed Helium? Like how many active deployers we have in the room? I mean, my team doesn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I would imagine that it's actually a good 60%. So we have about 40% of people here that they are not familiar with what we're trying to accomplish. For those people, I would really encourage you to ask as many questions as possible, because one of the cardinal sins when you're up here and you try to explain this is that you make a lot of assumptions about the knowledge base, and there is a lot of stuff behind Helium. And if it's not this presentation, will be after. Please feel free to stop by, have a conversation, ask me or anybody else questions. Very happy to answer any of that. So let's get into it. So what are we trying to do with Helium? Just a small thing, which is revolutionize the way people connect to the internet. Just a small mission. Why is that important? Well, without getting into many details, the way networks are being created historically has always been a very costly proposition. Usually it's very few incumbents that they have somewhat access to capital, or they loan an incredible amount of capital to create networks. So it's what in the crypto lingo, or even in the telco lingo, we call a centralized build model. Someone raises a bunch of money, creates, go and rents tower, rents places, puts up radios, and then it creates a network. It's a very expensive proposition. The result of that is the reason why our phone plans keep rising in prices every year. This is the reason why it's very expensive to operate that network. So what we're trying to do with Helium is try to break that model and create a new type of connectivity operator, where what if the infrastructure is actually not owned directly by the company that offers that service. So that's what the Helium network is at its core. So instead of having few companies owning towers and radios out there, now we have thousands, tens of thousands of people that own radios, and they make themselves available to offer connectivity to people, and they get rewarded in the form of a cryptocurrency token that in the case of Helium is the Helium Network token. We say HNT, that's the name, the acronym into the token world. A little bit more, and because of that, decentralized way of building the network allows for lower cost to operate, to maintain the network, because the service provider that creates services on this network doesn't have to pay for towers, doesn't have to pay for access for radios, doesn't have to pay for operations. All this is decentralized in the hands of deployers like Omar and like everybody else here that already deploys hotspots that they contribute to the creation of that network. And doing that, we're able to create a better economics, cheaper plans, and a better and more economically feasible way of connecting people, hence revolutionizing the way people connect. So where do we install these devices? So the one you see here is actually our indoor version of what we call a hotspot. What a hotspot is a device that acts as a mini cell tower. What does it mean? You probably have, for the ones that are not familiar, a picture of this like gigantic towers with radios on top. That's what is a traditional cell tower looks like. Very big, usually stays outside, and it's very hard to miniaturize, to bring into places to be close to you, because the reality is that, as you might imagine, the more far away are you from the cell tower, or the more obstacles there are, physical obstacles there are between you and the cell tower, the less is the service, the less quality of service you can, and the more expensive it is, because those towers are actually, they need to be more powerful, bigger, and taller. So this acts as a mini cell tower. What does it mean? It means that when you install one of these devices, now how many AT&T and T-Mobile subscribers in the room? Raise your hand. How many Helium Mobile subscribers in the room? We get to talk about it in a minute. So when we have this installed, the subscribers from carriers, they utilize the Helium network. We get to detail in a second. As soon as you enter the door, you will automatically be connected to this device. So if you look up in your phone, you'll see that you're being connected to this device. This happens automatically, seamlessly, without the user having to enter password or doing some weird like QR code scanning, captive portal. Everything is seamless. And that's why it acts as a mini cell tower, as it's supposed to be. And this is the power of what we're creating. So through the utilization and the deployment and the installation of as many as possible of these devices, we're able to create this gigantic network that can revolutionize the way people are connected to the internet. So because of that, as part of what we're trying to create with Helium Network, as important as creating a network, Helium actually has their own phone plans. So you can actually purchase plans from Helium. It's called Helium Mobile. Is a carrier, just like you have many other carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Mint Mobile, or Google Fi. So as a carrier, you can buy phone plans from. We have 3 different plans. We have a $0 plan. Yes, it's free. It's a $0 plan for like a 1 gigabyte of traffic on the T-Mobile network and 2 gigabyte on the Helium network. You have a $15 plan and a $30 unlimited plan. Why do we have a plan? We have a plan because what I said at the beginning, the way we win at this is when you can create a network that grows so fast and is able to create the efficiency in creating a network so that you can offer this type of phone plans. They are cheaper, they are better in terms of quality of experience compared to the status quo. So these 2 things, they have to be together. They have to go together. So that's why we keep talking about how the subscribers of Helium Mobile are growing, as well as how much the network is growing. Because the more network we have, the better the Helium Mobile value proposition is for our subscribers. So what are we with the network today is that because everything is evolving, it's not just Helium Mobile users that can connect to the network. We actually have agreements in place with carriers in the United States, like AT&T and T-Mobile, that allows for their subscribers to connect directly to the network and utilize the network, as well as other MVNOs, which is another way to say as well other carriers. So because of that, the way it works is pretty straightforward. So someone deploys a hotspot. We have an indoor version. There's an outdoor version that you might see in some of the flyers that you have out there, which is meant to be mounted outside as an outdoor, so is properly weather resistant. Or you, in a place like this, if there is an existing Wi-Fi, you can actually work with our team to configure this existing Wi-Fi network into be part of the network. So there are different ways of joining the network. You either deploy, you either install an indoor, install an outdoor, or you convert an existing network. In all this way, what we got today is to say we have more than 120,000 access points active in the US, and just to give some numbers, last weekend, it's funny because every time we do this, we need to update this slide because it's always old, just a couple of days. So the past weekend, we got to 2.997, I believe, million people in the US. So we connected essentially 3 million people connected to the network. Remember, these people didn't do anything. They were automatically connected. We didn't ask to do them anything, to log in, to do any captive portal. It just happened that's the way the network is done. And for every person and every session that they went into the network, there was a deployer that got rewarded in HNT for their work, for the work that their equipment was doing down in the field. And that's how this is sustainable. It continues to grow, and it can continue to grow. But enough of that. So I wanted to pass it on to Joey Hiller, which is a director of product at the Helium Network, and he'll tell us a little bit about how, in the specifics, we make this working before we get into interesting and fun things with Omar here about network and host. Thank you. Yeah. Round of applause for Joey.
Hopefully we're sounding good. Pizza's good. I'll keep this a little bit more brief because I do want to get to Omar's stuff, and he's got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. But I mostly want to dive into what it means to actually build a network like this. So one of the biggest challenges when we're talking about building physical infrastructure is all of the overhead that it takes to actually get that stuff to work. So the important thing, like this is a hotspot, Mario pointed it out, was the indoor one. It took me a couple of minutes to set this up. I think that's a really critical piece. There we go, a little louder. It's getting the symbols. If this thing was setting up DNS and all the other sort of things that you might think about setting up a Wi-Fi at your home or something, it's a non-starter for folks. So we've done a lot of work building on the shoulders of already really good work to make sure that these things are as simple as possible. The onboarding ease is the most paramount thing when we're thinking about how we create a network of millions of these devices. So for the folks that are familiar, and we saw some hands raised earlier, the existing paradigm for installing a hotspot was you download an app, you scan the QR code on your hotspot, it does a little bit of handshake with that hotspot, and it's off. And then you manage it completely through that app. And we were actually able to make that process even easier. So the last Builder Bootcamp in San Francisco, well, going in a little bit of weird order, I'll come back to those. We talked about QR code onboarding, and we shipped that just a couple of weeks ago. The onboarding process is now a complete handshake away from your phone. The only thing that you're doing is when you scan that QR code, it's just assigning that to you. So you don't have to worry about sort of infrastructure or connectivity on your phone. You can do all this stuff before or after you've deployed the hotspot. As long as you have that QR code that's on the box and on the hotspot, you're pretty much good to go. And this is all in the broader interest of making that experience easier. So the thing that is coming, and the thing that I'm really excited for all of the attendees here, we're going to get you signed up for it for the closed beta, but we're bringing the entire builder experience to the web. And so now you'll have a centralized place to go and manage your hotspots, onboard your hotspots, and really exciting, yeah, you know, I don't have a hotspot, right? I'm obviously not looking at the slides. We're going to do this live. Feel free to interrupt me too, by the way. One of the really exciting features is that we're going to start being able to do things like sharing the rewards of the hotspot. And that becomes critical for especially the folks here who are starting to think about or are already deploying a bunch of these things, and they have friends or businesses, or they're going and doing cold outreach and engaging folks to set these things up, and they want to share in that reward with that venue. One of the big overheads and hurdles there is finding a way to share. And we can do that because we are crypto powered and not sort of encumbered by the systems of it. We can do that completely in an automated fashion with full visibility for the folks that you're working with. And so that is one of the key features that's going to be coming to this new experience as soon as we ship it, which will be very soon. But I'm excited to get some folks folded in for a closed beta. There's still some missing illustrations, things like that. So it's not like fully released, but we're going to see a lot of really cool features in there. I'm going to leave it at that. We can quiz me all you want on this, but we'll follow up with an email with folks to get you signed up, and it's totally free and all that. So it'd be pretty cool. But I'm excited to introduce Omar. Some of you may know him as Make and Bank. He's part of the mobile working group, very a loud voice on Twitter and elsewhere. But he's here to talk to you about what it means to deploy these things at scale. So I'll give you that.
Thanks, Joey.
Really cool to be able to bring folks over like this. We had JM came out for our San Francisco Builder Bootcamp, had like some really awesome angles on working with public organizations or local organizations to engage folks and sort of tell the story about what it means to deploy these things. You've got an entirely different angle, so I'm excited to learn from you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Good evening, everyone. No. First and foremost, to deploy at scale, to look for hosts, you gotta have energy, right? Because they're gonna feed off of your energy. So good evening, everyone. That's a little better. One more time. Good evening, everyone. All right. So you gotta get excited, right? I used to be a financial advisor, stockbroker, and one of the things is when we're making our cold calls, they teach you gotta stand up. If you're sitting down like this, they sense your energy through the phone. You gotta stand up, you gotta get animated, right? And that typically throws people off, and that's how you can grab them. So my name is Omar Henry. My company is Decentralized. We're about a team of 6 of us right now. We're currently offloading. We just hit a new high last week. We hit around 3.8. I'm pretty sure we're gonna hit another high this weekend. We're doing about 90 terabytes a month right now, and we're looking to push that over the 100 mark before the end of this month. So we're doing really, really well. I got into Helium Mobile back around 2023, just to preface this. I was looking for opportunity within blockchain to produce residual rewards, okay? Make residual returns, and I saw Helium, it just made sense to me. At that time, it was CBRS days. It was around $3,000 or something like that for a setup. I bought it, I put it on the house, and from then I was hooked. Right? Fast forward to now, we are a full deployment company. We have locations in Los Angeles, and Atlanta, and New York, and Huntsville, and Texas, right? We're all across the nation. And you can do this as well too, because even though it may seem like there's a lot and there's almost 3 million people using this on it, there's still a lot more opportunities out there. So what makes a good host? First and foremost though, before we even look for a host, you gotta know, why are you looking for a host? Like, what are you doing, right? And this is where a lot of deployers get caught up. Like Mario just said, this is a little cell phone tower. So first and foremost, what are we doing? I work with businesses, I work with property managers to deploy cutting edge technology that improves indoor signals and provide passive returns. That's what I'm doing, right? So you have to know that you're actually deploying a hotspot indoor to help improve cellular signal. Now that you know you're helping to improve cellular signal, now you know what type of locations you need to look for that's going to need cell phone signal improved. And you want to look for the locations that are going to have high foot traffic. That's one of the criteria, right? High foot traffic ensures consistent customer flow. So you don't want it inside of your house, right? Because there isn't a lot of foot traffic in your house. It's you, your wife, your husband, and maybe your kids, right? You want it inside of a restaurant, right? Inside of a restaurant, there are people going in and out all day. You want it at, if you can get inside of an airport, inside of a mall, inside of venues that have a lot of foot traffic, those are going to be the best locations because people are there to offload the data, right? And data is how we make our returns on this stuff. Long dwell time creates opportunities. Long dwell time creates opportunities for enhanced mobile usage, okay? So I believe it's a perfect marriage between foot traffic and dwell time. When you hear dwell time, they're talking basically how long are the cheeks in the seats, right? So how long is this person sitting down eating their food? We started off with barbershops and salons and gas stations to build up our portfolio before we went off to the larger enterprise locations like the malls, like the airports and things, because they need to see proof in the pudding. The reason why some salons do phenomenal, so we have some African hair braiding salons in our portfolio. They're open 24/7. They're open 24/7. They have around 7 to 8 chairs in there. The women come in, they're spending an average of 3 to 4 hours in a chair. When they're in that chair for 3 to 4 hours, they're watching YouTube. They're listening to Spotify. They're just offloading. So even though you may not have a lot of foot traffic there, you have the dwell time, right? So, and with these locations as well too, a lot of times you can get to the decision maker a lot quicker than with the enterprise locations, there's more bureaucracy. So it's essential for maximizing the indoor connectivity benefits by having foot traffic and dwell time. Without that, you're not going to, number one, you're not helping the most people effectively with the technology that we're offering. And then two, if you're trying to deploy at scale, you're not going to see the returns or the numbers that you would want deploying in low traffic and low dwell time areas. Make sense? Awesome. So finding a host. I'm young, but I'm old school at heart, right? So I believe in walking the block. Yeah, walking the block slowly. Yeah. I don't walk fast. He makes a joke because my wife is from New York, and New Yorkers be walking fast. I like to cruise when I'm walking. Walk the block. Go out, see the area, see the different businesses around. Pull out your phone. See the areas that you may not have good connectivity. Walking the block is always good. And after I get a business in an area, I walk the block to see the other businesses because guess what? Now I have the proof in the pudding when I go to that other business. I already have one on your block. If I have one on your block, there's no reason why I can't get 10 more. Straightforward, right? Warm introductions. Warm introductions are always great. Using your existing leads in order for you to get into other locations. These businesses, they don't know you, but they may trust that person that's going to give you that warm invitation, that warm lead, right? Kyle, as you see back there, Kyle actually started off as one of my hosts. He owns 2 business locations in Atlanta, Georgia, and he started off as a host. And he saw the vision, he saw how this was working. He's like, man, this is a no-brainer, it makes sense. Kyle then also went and now opened up his Rolodex of people that he knows and stuff of that nature. And that's part of the reason why we've expanded. So part of our strategy, we don't just build by ourselves, we also bring on strategic partners, right? Because they may know 50 other businesses, and then one person from that 50 may know 100. So warm introductions are key. That's also part of leveraging the networks as well too. Warm introductions, leverage your network of professionals. And opportunistic walk-ins. Huge. So last week, it was last week. Last week I was in Harlem. And we did a couple bars and restaurants up there. I went from one restaurant, it was called Row House. We did an installation there. They wanted me to go do their second venue down the street. I walked into the wrong business. I walked inside, hey, I'm Omar, I'm here to do the installation. They called you and told you I'm coming over, right? She's like, huh? I'm like, yeah, I just finished over there. They told me they're going to call you to let you know that I'm coming to do the installation. I installed a Helium Mobile Hotspot. She goes, what does that do? I said, all right, it's going to improve the connectivity inside. You see all these people sitting here, and because it's brick inside, they only have 2 bars on their cell phone. So if they're AT&T, T-Mobile, or one of the carriers underneath them, they're going to have full signal, and also you're going to get a reward for this. She was like, wait, this is my business. Shouldn't I know if you're going to install this? I said to her, wait, isn't this the Harlem Tavern? She said, no, that's across the street. I said, oh, my bad. I got to go install across the street. She said, no, you said something about rewards. Tell me more. So opportunistic walk-ins is real. And I believe, especially in this day and age where we're getting more digital, where we're more far apart, people appreciate that face-to-face contact. You come in and talk with them. So I strongly believe in those. So now when you do the opportunistic walk-in or just regular walk-ins, you always want to pay attention to people's behavior, body language. Stop for a second, observe, right? Stop for a second, observe, so you can know how to approach people the right way. Keep it short. Do not, what do they call it, verbally vomiting? Oh, this is a Helium Mobile hotspot. The average person doesn't even know what a hotspot is, right? So you come in, tell me there's a hotspot. Keep it short, keep it simple. Do not oversell, do not overtalk. Hey, we have a great solution that's helping businesses with their customers with indoor connectivity, and I would like the opportunity to tell you more about it, right? So you always want to also ask for permission in that sense. And shared experience. So for me, every time I go inside of a business, I do pull out my cell phone. I pull out my cell phone because I'm checking to see if they have Wi-Fi available, right? Only because I want to see if they have infrastructure in there where maybe we can convert over their infrastructure that they have already. The second thing I'm looking at is my cell phone signal, because then in my conversation, I'm going to be like, man, I just came in here, or I've been here, I was enjoying a drink. Patronizing the location is also good, right? Buy something or do something there. Hey, I just bought a drink and I was sitting here and I realized my signal was kind of low. I know of a great product, or I know of a great company, or I know of a great solution. Make it personal, right? People love that. Following up is always important. Always important. It's okay. Most people don't say yes all the time the first time, or not even the second time. Following up is very, very important. When we used to cold call people and calling you on the phone and saying, hey, I'm such and such from XYZ company. I have a great product that we can get you a return on your $500,000. You're like, they're going to click sometime. That's fine. I'll follow up with you in 2 days. Then I'll follow up with you within a week. Then my next follow-up is 30 days out. You know what I mean? So the follow-up is very important. And so many of us lives are busy now with so much going on. Don't take it personal. Sometimes they're just not receiving the information, and you need to do that follow-up. Effective opening lines. Awesome. Your customers are on the inside. The towers are outside, right? Your customers on the inside. Everyone understands that. Everyone knows that cell phone towers are out there. Everyone has gone through the experience of walking indoors and not having good connectivity inside. Once you say those words to them, now they can visualize this. They can see it. You're painting a picture for them, right? We help carriers reach inside buildings like yours. This is where I kind of get a little more technical with them, where I'm saying to them that, hey, look, cell phone towers are outside. Costs a carrier on average about $250,000 to go set up these new towers, right? So they rather work with a network like Helium, which has hotspots all over the country, which they can utilize their network for a fraction of the cost. So it's a win-win for them. They're still giving their customers great connectivity, but they don't have to come out of pocket as much. Who wouldn't want to save, right? So when you break it down like that to your potential host, it just makes sense. Use words, terminology, and things that just make sense to use on a regular daily basis. This runs quietly in the background, no disruption. That's very important. Most businesses, they want to know that whatever you're going to put there is not going to interrupt what they already have going on. All right, so you want to stress that this thing runs in the background, no disruption, it's seamless. With us, with our hosts, everyone has different models, but with us, with our hosts, there's no cost, there's no maintenance by you. We handle everything for you from A to Z, so that this way, this is just an added benefit, a new experience that you're giving your customer base. Right? So the zero cost model, like I was saying, for my company, Decentralized, that's what we utilize. Different deployers use different models with hosts. Some don't do revenue splits, some do fixed numbers, but for us, we do a zero cost model. So what we do for our hosts, we don't charge them for installation costs, right? We deploy, we install everything for them with no upfront costs. There's no maintenance responsibility. And then on the revenue share, we normally share around 20% with our host, okay, of the revenue that comes in. And the monthly payouts for us, we do monthly payouts to our hosts on the 5th of every month. So our hosts, we do give our hosts the option of whether they want to get paid in crypto or get paid in US dollars. So this is always a thing people ask about that, all right? I'm not afraid to talk about crypto. I'm just not, okay? I'm not. I strongly believe, and I understand it, where I believe that with my host, I'm doing them a disservice if I don't even mention it, because these are where things are heading. Now, if you're building a business and then you don't inform your host about this option, later on someone else come along, they're going to think that you're not as knowledgeable in the sector that you're working in. So it's better to inform them and then give them the option of these payouts. And I will say that most people do still choose US dollars because that's what they understand, but at least, we give them that option. Deal non-negotiables. So people want what they can't have. Don't walk into a place looking like you're begging on your knees. Can you please put this in here? Because that doesn't make any sense, right? In order for me to deploy this technology at your business, you have to qualify, which means that you got to at least have internet and power. You have to put in something that disqualifies people so they want to have it. So reliable power, you need to have internet access. Internet access, which is important, guys, like an actual wired modem. Like an actual wired modem, not like a Wi-Fi backhaul, an actual wired modem. And then within your host, you want to make sure that whatever locations you're deploying the hotspot, that they do approve that location there, right? With us, we always make sure it's approved location. When we're finished, we always take pictures of our deployments and we always send it to our host as well too. It's also like a CYA, So once you're done, no one can ever say that you've done anything like that. And then you need to have some form of contract, right? It's a right to operate. You need to have some kind of contract that you write up. You could deal with your lawyer. You could draft up something simple. I'm not a lawyer. I won't give legal advice there. But you need to have some kind of draft that you do have the right to operate within that space. And then closing the deal, that's a part of the clear agreement that I said. As far as having that agreement, you have the right to operate in that space. Set expectations. So after we get a yes with a host, we send them a introduction onboarding email. Inside of that email, we welcome them for taking the opportunity to partner with Decentralized. We let them know that their location is now deployed and we're waiting for a carrier offload to happen. So once these locations are set up, it does go through a process where it has to be selected and approved by AT&T, T-Mobile, or whatever carriers we're working with. So once it's deployed, it doesn't start offloading on day one. So it's important to set expectations. We let them know that on average it takes about a week or two, but due to demand right now, it may take a little bit longer. But don't worry, once your location is live, we will celebrate with you. So now you're creating an event. No, for real, like you're creating an event, you're getting them excited. You send them an email once it's live, it's like, yay, So you get your host involved with it and you set the right expectations. When it comes to rewards, with our hosts, we let them know, hey, we hope that this location will produce enough to at least offset a bill or two for you, right? Nothing that's going to make you rich. Set expectations, set expectations. Installation timeline, we let our hosts know that once we come to do an install, we typically want to allot an hour time frame. Because what I've learned, no install is the same. So I wasn't doing, right, I'm coming from the finance world, coming into the tech world, doing installations and stuff. And it would frustrate me because I know what to do, but every time you go to an installation, something pops up that you have to problem solve, or you may have to run an extra wire or something of that nature. So always allot at least an hour time frame when it comes to installation timeline. And we typically tell them we will get your install done within 2 weeks from the time that we, agree. Again, setting that expectation because people want what they can't have. If you do it too fast, then they may think you don't have any other locations or, okay, you get what I'm saying. And then first payouts, clearly explain when and how first payouts occur, reassures hosts about expected financial benefits and builds trust. That's really important. So again, remember, after these are installed, you want to let your host know that, hey, it may take a week or two before it goes live. And then since we do our payouts on the 5th of every month, depending on where it lands, that's why we say our hosts, you're going to get about a 45-day trial. That typically is enough time span for you to see what the location is producing and for them to get their first payouts. After the installation is finished, monthly reporting is important. When we do our distribution on the 5th of every month, we also give our hosts a detailed report showing what their location has earned. Helium World is a fantastic resource. Okay? It is. Helium World is a fantastic resource. I wish I could pull it up here right now, but on Helium World, you actually see where every hotspot is. Okay? What's business, guys? Business is mostly based upon what? Trust. So every business, I say to them, with Helium World, everything is live on the blockchain. Guess what? You don't got to trust me for anything because you could always see it live. With all of our hosts in the emails that we send out, we also send them a link to Helium World with their hotspot location. And with that, they're able to see exactly what it's producing every 30 days. So you have to worry about lying. Everything is fully transparent. That's huge. That works for like 99% of hosts that have any questions about transparency and stuff. We provide them with that link to Helium World so they can see it. And that covers your monthly reporting. That will take care of your transparency for payouts. And then also, for your locations, you always want to talk about expanding. We always leave room on the table when we discuss our payouts with our hosts because most businesses, they typically do have more than one location. That's from my experience. If you have one restaurant, you typically have 2 or 3, right? Stuff of that nature. So you always want to stay on top of that so you can get expansion and, again, leverage the referrals. All of our hosts, we also let our hosts know that, hey, you have the opportunity, if you know of another location that will enjoy the services that you're already getting, refer it over to us, and we do give our host partners a percentage for referrals as well too. Right? You want to work smarter, not harder. And if everyone can feel like they're being a part of something larger, you can scale a lot faster. And the big picture. So the big picture here again is just we are changing the game with these decentralized infrastructure deployments. I do believe that as we're transitioning into this machine economy, this automated world, that DePIN and these type of deployments, decentralized wireless, is going to have more of a center stage. So I do believe we are at the beginning. We are the pioneers right now, right? I feel like this is kind of like back in the days with the .com stuff that's starting to boom, and few people knew about it. So big picture, if you get involved now, learn about Helium. You can build a real nice deployment career if you want to build a deployment career, build a deployment business, or if it's just something you want to install in friends and family so that you're having a better experience, it is there. So Come on in.
One second here, team. Yeah, I'll take it. Okay, that was fantastic, Omar. Thank you so much. Entertaining too, and informative. So what's next for DC? So we really want. We had a ton of success dropping into New York City. There's now thousands and thousands of hotspots in that area. It makes for a better Helium Mobile experience for our subscribers to offload, and the business that affords us, and how we can pass that back on to our customers, as well as it's just exciting. Like, you walk down the street. I go to a coffee shop. I live in the Gramercy area, and every other street I'm on, I'm connecting to some sort of hotspot. It feels really cool. It feels like you're living in the future. And we want to come to DC and do the exact same thing. And so I'm going to go through just like a couple things of what we're looking to do here. But the moral of the story is, if you've deployed before and you're excited to get back into it, if you've never deployed and you've been nervous to get off zero and you want to help, like, we are totally committed to lighting up Washington, DC. So anyone who's been thinking about it, please let us know. And so from the classroom to deployments, so as you've just seen, we do these deployer boot camps. And once again, if you have questions for Omar, let him know. That was fantastic. But we're also going to do some other stuff. So we're going to have boots on the ground in terms of people from the Helium team being much more available in the area. If there's a concentrated group of people who want to deploy, we're going to have more community tools, and those come in the form of both, hardware incentives. Maybe you install an indoor hotspot, we'll give you an outdoor, things to really get you going and get you experienced. And then the second is some more interesting custom tooling that we're using to route leads and hopefully give some of those leads to deployers. Because as he just mentioned, making the pitch can be a time-consuming thing, but if we can help in any way to our deployer community to not have to do that step or make it easier, we'd love to do so. And so here's a cool example of like one of the tools that I've been building internally, which is a DC venue map that hopefully I'll have soon to be able to share externally with the broader community. So the ability to search by any neighborhood, actually used a proprietary scoring method to look at things like what types of venues could host indoor and outdoor hotspots. Is the owner likely to be a sole proprietor, so you don't have to deal with chains? Is there high foot traffic, some of the stuff he talked about, and the ability to filter by bar, restaurant, cafe. So hopefully some of this tooling will be available soon, and you guys can leverage it. And the last thing, if you haven't seen online, we actually have a 50% off all hotspots flash sale for this week with the code FLASH50 on the website. So if you're interested in purchasing any hardware, please go ahead and make use of that. We also have some hardware here with us. So that brings me to the end now. You will remember we had those two backpacks over there, which may have hotspots in them, but one was supposed to be given out for engagement, and one was supposed to be given out for pitching to Omar. So I didn't hear much engagement. Oh, we got. Okay. It's interesting. Oh, they're all coming out of the woodwork now. No, I'm kidding. Omar, get back up here. But anyway, also thank you for coming, everybody.